Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. As usual, how are my peeps doing? Welcome aboard. In the house, we have Yvette Avery Herod from Atlanta, Georgia. Michael Rutnan from Brooklyn, New York. He says, I need to take a break from politics for a couple of days. My blood pressure, hit 170 over 108 yesterday, and I'm feeling all sorts of anxious, need to decompress. See ya till Thursday. Okay, before you go, listen to what I'm going to tell you. Let me tell you, I had an episode several times, but the worst time was at KPFT. I went to the studio at night, felt all edgy. My blood pressure went up to 240 something over 140 something. It was the scariest time of my life. I've written about that story. Michael, you have got to take care of yourself. And for everybody that's listening, blood pressure has several components, and a lot of that component is stress as well. And we're living in stressful times. I want to tell all of us here, right? I know a lot of times people are completely stressed out. Let me tell you what I've been trying to do and learned to do. We can't change what we we cannot change what we cannot change, but we can work on changing what we can change. And as you work to change what you can change, that actually relieves much of the stresses, and once we come to that realization, a lot of your stresses get released. That isn't to say there isn't the underlying medical problem. My family has high blood pressure in the family. Of course, we all know that I am, and folks like me are predisposed to high blood pressure for historical reasons. But let me just tell you again, Michael, take care of yourself. You know, we love you, brother. And if you got to take a break, brother, you got to take a break. So you hang in there, and we're with you. Anyway, additionally, we have Lee the Bearcat from Austin, Texas. We have Paul Fleming from Powder Springs, Georgia. Eric Hayes from Kingwood, Tascasita. And Joe from Los Angeles, California. Remember, we lose the first few on Substack, but we have Beverly Meadows, Sandy Alburn, Joanne, Cheryl Elkins. Lynette says, good afternoon, everyone. Francine Baker, Bruce Potter from Kingwood, Texas. Carol Karkin, Kelly Perry, Bob Reger, Angie Decadence. I love that name. Anytime I see that name, it's like decadence. Like I'm chocolate decadence, right? Let's see. Joanne says, JB Crimmins from Frederick, Maryland. How you doing, Joanne from Frederick, Maryland? Thanks for being here. Elizabeth Allard, J.A. Jones, Irene Clark, sending good healing vibes to Michael. You heard that, Michael Rutnan. Good healings to you from Lynette. Dana Dubois. Hey, hola, ¿cómo estás, Dana? Hablamos mañana. I'm Decadence. All right, I'm Chocolate Decadence. You go, girlfriend. You know, we're going to talk. Mañana a las 9. And by the way, remember, you can call into my program or type in, but you can call in at 281-823-7747 and put your plug in, girl. Let me put that number in there. 281-823-7747. I'm putting the number in there early, brothers and sisters. Here we go. Give us a call in if you want to and plug. Do your plug-in. Tell us about your everyday great show that you have on Substack. Let people be a part of it. Anyway, folks, so give me a call. Diana, vámonos. Llámame. Okay, let's see what else we got here. You know what? I feel kind of naked because when we don't have Michael on point, we don't get some of those videos that he tells me, Egberto, show this one. Egberto, show that one. So we miss you, Radnin. But we have, let's see what else we got here. Anything else before I go on? All right. I have a fairly long video. So Tommy Tuberville and Larry Kudlow finding it amusing that Alabama farmers are getting screwed by Trump's tariffs. Is that a video? Because that would be interesting. That really would be interesting. And by the way, it does look like it's a video. I am going to try to put, I'm going to try to put that out here to Mr. Paul Fleming, because I want to see what they have to say. Let's see what that says there. Para ver. Let's get it started again. Bear with me as I put that baby on. All right, let's see. Get rid of that.
This Alabama, I have a number for you. You know, I talked about this. Alabama farmers are suffering. Chinese aren't buying soybeans. You probably know these numbers, but I just found today. Last year, the Chinese purchased $12.6 billion worth of soybeans. You know what the number is this year so far? Zero. They haven't. That's it. Yes, sir. Zero. You're on top of it. I just find that remarkable. Absolutely remarkable.
Yeah, they're buying them from all other places, Larry, but they've kicked our farmers to the curb.
I have a number for you. You know, I talked about this. Alabama farmers are suffering. Chinese aren't buying soybeans.
Yeah, these farmers are suffering, and several are still voting against their own interests. Amazing. Okay, I tell you what, since I don't have any calls, there we go. There's a call. Mademoiselle Dana, ¿cómo estás, mi amiga?
Estoy bien, ¿y tú?
Estoy luchando con la vida como siempre. I was just playing with you in Spanish. I didn't know you actually are fluent in Spanish. Your accent sounded pretty good.
Hace muchos años que estudié.
Oh, pero mira, lo estás haciendo perfecto. You're doing it beautifully well, my friend.
Gracias. Hace 20 años vivía en España y estudié español, pero olvido mucho.
Oh, wow. Don't worry. I was born. She just said, I lived over 20 years ago. I lived in Spain, but I forgot a lot. Hey, I'm from Panama, born and raised, speaking English and Spanish. And guess what? I have been forgetting a lot of Spanish. And by the way, we are having this big Panamanian function on November 8th. I'm one of the MCs, okay? And I'm going to have to do this stuff in both Spanish. Yeah, I got to do this stuff in both English and Spanish. And it's funny because I was telling my co-person, is like, I'm off to throw some of this at you because there are so many words now I've forgot. The other day I was looking at an ant, which is hormiga. And I'm like, la ant. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, ant is hormiga. Hormiga for ant, the animal, right? The insect.
Hormiga.
Hormiga.
Okay.
So I'm like, ant, what's going on? But anyway, getting back to the show, because there are all these folks that are listening. Tell me about tomorrow, or tell me about your show first of all.
Right. Well, this was very spontaneous. I have to tell you, I'm like out walking my dog, and tuned into your show, and you told me to call you, so I did. But I'm Dana Dubois. I'm one of the co-hosts of the Daily Whatever Show. It is a live daily podcast that I host with my best friend, Lawrence Winterman. We have been best friends since the 4th grade. So,
wow.
We have like super rapport and deep back knowledge, but he is one of the most brilliant and kind people I've ever known. And so we're two Gen X liberal shit-talking people who love to elevate other creative political types and give them a space to share their stories and build community. So we host this show. Let's see, I'm on the Pacific Coast, so 7 a.m. for me, 10 a.m. East Coast time, Monday through Friday, and on Saturdays at 9 a.m. And you are going to be our guest tomorrow.
Tomorrow I'll be your guest tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central Time. And what's the name of your show?
The show is called The Daily Whatever Show. Our publication is called Gen Xy, and that's Genxy. Rhymes with sexy. It's yeah. So that's
and it's on.
We are. And yeah,
it's on Substack, guys.
It is on
Go ahead.
Substack. It is on YouTube, but it doesn't stream live on YouTube yet. We're looking into what tool we want to use. We're going to be expanding to YouTube live really soon, but for now, the lives are on Substack. We have a really amazing community of people. We call them the Whatevers. It's a Whatever show. And you're going to see tomorrow, Egberto. They're going to love you. They're going to be chatting up a storm back at us while we go.
Well,
it's a really fun community. So.
Well, I kind of, since I was going to be on, I said I better check it out. And, I like the thing. If I didn't, hours are crazy. You know how it is doing all this kind of stuff. But you have a great show. And you know what? It's fun. It's fun. So Lynette is asking, is your show on Substack, The Daily Whatever Show? The Daily Whatever Show is on Substack. And again, Lynette is going to put out those links and notes to say, remember tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central, 7 Pacific. And it's going to be, of course, at 10 o'clock Eastern. I'll be on. I don't know what to expect, but I hope they don't beat me up too badly. We'll see.
Oh my God! We don't ask anyone to come on the show we want to beat up.
Okay.
It's a friendly place. So, we've got loads to talk about this week. My God. Well, definitely want to download about your No Kings experience, because we had a great one. I was listening to you yesterday when you were talking about that. But can you believe what's happened in the a day and a half since the dropping shit from airplanes on AI and the destruction of the wing of the White House, and who knows?
It's crazy.
Tomorrow morning.
But you know what I'm saying, and include one of the things that I want. Our good one of our regulars here, Michael Rudnin, has been with this program for a long time. I have a very soft spot for our brother from New York. He's younger. I think he's a Gen X brother too. And he's having a bout with blood pressure right now. So I'm saying, hey, as long as we're doing stuff, Dana, a lot of ways to kind of calm ones down and so forth is to know that you have agency and you can go out and do stuff. You know what I mean? And that's what we're doing. That's what you are doing. And that is what's great about all of this.
100%. That's why I get up before the crack of dawn every day to do this. Is like, it was just driven by a sense of we have our voices, and thanks to platforms like Substack and YouTube, it's pretty easy to get out there and elevate them. It's just
there you go.
Out, saying stuff and doing it consistently. So that's what we're doing. And I do want to say, Lawrence and I have a very Gen X perspective, and many of the guests we bring on tend to as well. But that you don't have to be Gen X to appreciate the show. In fact, we are not a nostalgia publication. We see the world through this lens, but that the part of that is speaking to folks from other generations as well, because we're not stuck in the past. We're living in the now.
That's what I love. I always say,
hopefully with a bit of wisdom learned along the way.
Hey, I claim myself a very old Gen Xer, but in reality, when they do, then I found a professor that says, okay, your year of birth, you can still call yourself a Gen Xer. Not completely so. I'm a bit older than you, baby, but let me tell you something, okay? Girlfriend. No, girlfriend. No. But you know what? I hang with young people. That's what I do. I hang with young people. But here's the deal. Here is the deal. Yeah. Lynette has already told the audience the handle for your show, which is at The Daily ever show. So she's already advertised it for you. So we'll talk tomorrow. I have a 29-minute interview not an interview, it's a discussion that I did on No Kings. I think you're gonna like it. So check it out. It's with Patrick Lavelle of the Con. I'm going to play that now, and then we'll take it on the other side. So thank you so kindly for calling, Dana.
Oh my God, this was so fun. I had no idea this is what I was going to spend my dog walk time doing. We'll see you tomorrow,
Mañana. Talk to you later. Peace. All right, guys. That was Dana from the Daily Whatever Show. Anyway, and Lynette just subscribed. All right, there you go. Anyway, folks, please remember that. Oh, I tell you what. Let me go ahead and play my spiel with Patrick Lavelle now, and then we'll continue the program in a little bit. Please be. Let's hope it came out right. I just saw a dark spot. Let's see if it came out right. 1, 2, 3. Egberto, vámonos a comenzar ahora.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whenever you happenstance in this Truth Bomb Riff. I am joined on this, I guess it's Tuesday, October 21st, 2025, by my good friend, my amigo, the wonderful Egberto Willies. And I just had to talk to you on the flip side of No Kings. I wanted to find out first and foremost how everything went for you. Tell us about what happened.
First of all, thank you for having me, Patrick. It is going. I was so impressed. I did a whole lot of work on the event. I covered it. I did some newscasts on it with WBAI in New York. It went much better than we expected it to go. We had
Fantastic.
More people than we expected. So it all went well. Of course, the next thing is going to be the follow through. And I heard about the 7 million people that showed up. I understand that it's likely more than that when all the numbers are counted. But that said, I think all of us who participated have got to be proud of what was actually done on that day.
How many people do you think you had turn out?
Between 1,050 to 1,100 is what I think. Our official count by the time the police did it was 850. But we had a lot more coming in and a constant sea. I mean, it was just amazing. We had streets lying down for over, for quarter mile or so on all directions. So it was amazing.
Well, that's huge because, of course, Kingwood is not what most people would perceive as a no king sort of community. Can you
Not at all.
Please describe what that means in terms of numbers.
Kingwood is where the Tea Party comes, where the Tea Party, Ted Cruz, and all these guys come to raise money. And I'm talking about having a well-established conservative machine here in Kingwood. And it's a machine that is broken now because the last town hall that Dan Crenshaw had was a disaster for Dan Crenshaw because, again, when the people showed up, and people that show up are the people who want change. And when he was shocked at a town hall that normally gets maybe 50 people to 100, he got over 500 people at his town hall, all of them screaming or most of them screaming at him. We had some other events, same outcome. We had several No Kings. Well, we had the Two Kings events previous to this, more people than ever expected. I ran along with that. Well, I should say many of us ran. Some professors and students ran Occupy Kingwood back in the Occupy days. And we would have been happy with 25, 30 people every weekend that we did it.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, we would have been happy with that. And then on the last day when we had close to between 75 and 100 people, we were ecstatic to get that kind of response in Kingwood. To have women come together, older women come together and organize this area and pull not only older women, older men, mid women, and Gen Z. In fact, I have about 8 to 10 interviews that I'm putting together in one piece that's going to show the thoughts of Gen Zs in this area. And like I said, it was an all-around success that showed that people are, in fact, waiting or wanting something to happen. And I think the failure of in this case, the Democratic Party is to really have had, and I know this wasn't a democratic event, but this is something that needs to be fed. And I think where they are dropping the ball is after you show that there are this many people active, we're approaching that 3.5% that Chena Hawk, I think, speaks about. We have to be ready when these people are activated to give them something to do and to have a plan as to put us in office. And I'm talking about whether you call yourself a Democrat, a progressive, a DSA, whoever you call yourself. When we get into power, this is what we're going to do to make things better for you. And that's what I'm not seeing from the leadership of the Democratic Party.
Well, boy, you hit the nail on the head with that. And that's what I was curious about. But before I move into more of the details about what you mean by that in context of some of the things that I'm saying as well, because I'd love to share some things with you at the appropriate time. But I am curious about the state of Texas in general on No King's Day. I saw pictures from Austin that seemed to be enormous. And same with Dallas. And I think Houston had quite a bit of a large turnout as well. And in fact, I got to be honest with you, Hector, the most lively city that I experienced when I made my first documentary film called Forward 13, Waking Up the American Dream. I had traveled through about 27 Occupy encampments from the Northwest all the way through the country, all the way to the Northeast corridor up into DC and New York. But I can assure you, the most lively group of people was Houston, Texas. So I'm curious how you felt about what happened throughout the state of Texas on Saturday.
Well, I wasn't at the big Houston event at City Hall, but it was big. I had a lot of friends who actually spoke like you did at your event in I think Utah.
I was Salt Lake City,
Utah. And in Houston, Texas, we had a lot of speakers, several of them that I knew personally, and it was a large event. But here's what diluted that event somewhat in Houston, because it was big. Don't get me wrong now. But Houston, as you know, being from here, is a huge area. And we had so many events with thousands of people. We had Kingwood. You know where Kingwood is. We had the Woodlands. You know where the Woodlands hit. We had Conroe, Pasadena, Pearland, Baytown. We had in all the surrounding areas in Houston. All of these events were well attended. So if normally you have a big city and everybody concentrate in one area, that's not what we had here. We had Katy, Texas, Humboldt, Texas, all these different areas had their own No Kings event, and they were all well attended. And that speaks well about a movement, because, you know, the activists will travel into town. But this is a movement that need more than the activists. It actually needs the people that are actually being harmed by the current state of the system. And you know what? I've spoken to them in my conservative town. The amount of people that I've spoken to, I spoke to at least 35, 40 people on camera. And I'm talking about, these weren't Democrats all. These were probably, 50 to 60% Democrats. But let me tell you, the ones that were Republicans were the ones that either didn't want to speak, or the ones that said they were independents, or the proud ones that said, I can't be a Republican anymore. That was in a minority, but still the change is there. And you look at the newspapers that covered it, not the newspapers, they didn't cover it, but in Kingwood, but the online links in Kingwood that covered it, you can see the depression within the community when those that are conservatives had to lash back. But the lash back was very small compared to what it used to be in the past.
Well, I regard you as one of the leaders of, what we might affectionately think of under the big tent of the umbrella of the Democratic Party. I think that you're somebody who galvanizes and speaks to the issues so brilliantly every chance that you get in so many ways. I don't know how you find enough hours in the day to do it, but I hope as this progresses that more and more people discover you at Politics Done Right and all the platforms from, of course, Substack, which I think is your sort of central platform, but then, of course, radio and everything else. And, Berto Willies is really a force of nature. And, we saw over the weekend as well, I was really eager actually to see a couple of things. I'm just going to ask you one question at a time to see, if we can discuss it and then move to the next one instead of try to, throw compound questions at you to try to respond to all of them at the same time. But the first thing that I saw after the, our rally, which was 20,000 plus. It was a huge event.
Wow.
It was incredibly inspiring. I had the opportunity to speak, as you mentioned. And I remember getting on my phone in the car, and one of the first things that I saw on my social media feeds was that stupid, let's call it AI video of Donald Trump. And it was trending yesterday, Kenny Loggins' Highway to the Danger Zone, which was, of course, the song on Top Gun. But because Kenny Loggins, the writer and performer of that song, had responded negatively. But Donald Trump was dressed up as a Top Gun pilot in an F-15, literally dropping, out of his plane, dung on the people of America. What was your reaction to that?
First of all, to have a president who is going to retweet a picture with him in a pilot suit, a crown on, and dropping dung from a plane. It tells you the lack of seriousness that this guy has for the office. I mean, and then the lack of seriousness that he has for the problem that the people are going through. When you have this many people protesting, I mean, if you take a look at how Obama or Bush #2 handled protests, they didn't like the protests, but the one thing they weren't going to do is make fun of the protesters. Even if they think the protesters are ill-advised, they will try to get to the protesters. But this president is a child. This president is an immature child, not a sixth grader, an immature toddler. He gets into tantrums. And if you take a look at how the foreign leaders treat him when they're in his presence, they understand what makes him tick now. So you saw him at the last thing in the Middle East, and you had the president of or the prime minister of Pakistan, I guess it was one of the leaders of Pakistan, telling him how great he was for stopping wars that he didn't know, that he didn't stop. And all of them there know it. They laugh at him behind his back, but they know that in order to maybe get the tariffs down on, not them, on the American people, which then stops the American people from buying enough of their goods, to get all of that down, let's just placate this buffoon of a president that the United States have, and then things will be okay. We are willing to do that, is what the foreigners are saying.
Right. Well, at the same time, though, and I addressed this on Saturday, but I address this all the time in this podcast, and of course, everywhere I can get. But, I call him the Mad Magazine Mad King. I mean, he is a complete satire. He's a complete joke. I take it much further. I don't like to say he's stupid, because that would not rise to the level of stupid. I mean, he's so beyond that. You know what I mean? It's like I said in my speech, he's not qualified to feed pigeons in the park, and no disrespect to people who feed pigeons in the park. He said 2 weeks ago that Venezuelan drug smugglers have murdered 300 million Americans. He said that communism has lasted for 1,000 years. And meanwhile, as insane as this all is, he has looted north of $5 billion in the first 9 months. Now, try to make that make sense from where you're coming from. How do you unpack that?
It looks like China is doing a good job of unpacking that on TikTok, because as opposed to us preaching why democracy is better for people, we give China a chance to come on TikTok and Instagram and all these places and say, look at our communities. We don't have poverty. We don't have this. We don't have that. And when he talks about Venezuela and how we are blowing stuff out of the waters in Venezuela, China comes around and says, we are in every country and we didn't drop a bomb on any single one of them. And every single one of these countries want us there. I mean, you sit down and you listen to what China is promoting as propaganda right now. And unfortunately, their propaganda is true. Look, these guys are filling the gap that we as a democracy, we as a country that preaches free enterprise should want. Instead, what we have is China showing that their method works too. But not only does it work, but that in the current form, it's working much better for their people and the folks who back them than for our people. And this is a hard thing to say. It's a very hard thing to say. but I ask all of our American brothers and sisters to go ahead and talk to not people on TikTok or whatever, but talk. If you have friends who have traveled to places like China, places like South Africa, ask them, how does the middle class live there? And how is the middle class doing? I'm not asking you to look at the dirt poor that you have both here in the United States and in India and in China and in these other areas, but the middle class. Ask about how they're doing, and you'll be amazed. America needs a revamp, and a revamp quickly.
Well, and that's where I've been pressing very hard. And it really, when I had the opportunity to speak to the group in Salt Lake, it was amazing because I had postulated the question after identifying all the problems, right? Like I was mocking it and I was really dropping the bombs left.
You were good, man. The thing about it is I'm trying to cut up some of your video but I got to get out some of the words that you use because I have a family friendly.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
No. You did it for the venue. I need to modulate it for another venue. But when I called you and I said, man, I like your speech. I meant that. And I can actually modulate that thing in Premiere.
I love to see it. I can't wait to see you come up with. And thank you so much for that. That means a great deal to me, especially because I know how busy you are. But what I was experiencing in real time was I remember, basically setting it up, which I loved from this perspective. I'm like, have you had enough? And of course, everybody erupts. And I'm like, have you had enough of all of this stuff from Stephen Miller? Have you had enough of this stuff from Mike Johnson? Have you had stuff from Pam Bondi on down the line? And then, of course, I talked about some of those ridiculous things that Trump has been saying outward that nobody calls him on in the White House press corps, which is insanity. And that was really kind of the theme of the whole thing. But when I got to the point where I turned to try to position, next steps, right? I turned, let's say the mic, so to speak, to the audience. And I said, okay, so what's the plan? Yell out your plan. And at first there was like silence. And then all of a sudden there was this eruption of people like yelling out different things, right? So everybody has an idea. And I thought that was great. And that set the tone for them to hopefully listen and share and all of those things. But to you, I asked the same question because I think, and this is the reason I wanted to talk to you today. And we only have about 17 minutes left. The nature of what's next, right? So I watched Bernie Sanders deliver a beautiful speech, but my criticism is that I've heard that speech a lot, right? I know that speech. I know it intuitively well. And I loved by the way, probably the speech that I heard that I was most inspired by was the immigration sort of perspective of the guy, Mehdi Hassan.
Mehdi is good. Oh man, he's good.
He was magnificent, I thought.
I didn't hear that. Yeah.
Okay, I'd really encourage you, or I'll share it to you. I'll find it and I'll share it with you. But on down the line, all of these people. And so what we got to for most of them was what's pretty predictable. And I think the Democratic Party writ large, and this was a bit of an issue for me internally because I've been engaged with the senior leadership of the Salt Lake crowd, Indivisible chapter, and they kicked me up to the Western Regional, which was a step away from Ezra and Leah. Beautiful people. I love them. They, as I've said publicly a myriad of times, they kind of remind me of me when I was younger from a technocratic standpoint, right? They work for campaigns. They're professionals. They know how to identify all of the elements that are going to play in things that they get paid for to be able to get somebody elected. Okay. So that's one thing. And I've seen them become a little bit disillusioned over the course of the summer as the lack of impetus by the Democratic Party writ large, right? There's a huge vacuum. We know that the polls, the Democrats are polling as low as Trump, as much or even maybe lower than Trump in some ways. And this is insane considering how bad things are. And so, I was trying to get the message of what I revealed because you know who I'm working with, which are tremendous people, and it couldn't break through. And you start to ask I start to ask questions like, okay, who's in control? Who's flying the plane? Who's funding this? Who's allowing the resources to all of these things? And the first thing that pops into my mind is the DNC, which are connected to billionaires. And I'm thinking to myself, and this is what I said in the in the speech. I said, my friends, the problem is the junk of the billionaires. If you are a junkie, you can't get clean when you feed off the junk that they control you with. And that got a huge response in Salt Lake City. And that's what I'm trying to get around the country. To your point, what say you about the lack of, shall we say, a vision and a platform that is as big as the corruption that enables the stupidity of Trump, while at the same time enabling him to get $5 billion plus in the first 9 months of the second term.
What you just said opened the door perfectly. Here is the problem. The problem is that the Democratic Party has a heart. They believe in these programs that help people, and they do believe in equity. All those things they do believe in. The problem is the Democratic leadership is of the belief that it's not that they don't think these things are what people want, is that they think the billionaires will not fund Democrats if Democrats started to promote the things that people want. And as such, you get a neutered Chuck Schumer, you get a neutered Hakeem Jeffries, you get a neutered every single one of the 50 Democratic Party establishments in the different states and each of the counties. If you remember, I think it was in Arizona when the progressives took over the party. I think it was Arizona or New Mexico. I think it was Arizona. They went into a fit. They closed bank accounts and they shut them down and they froze them out. The problem is that, you and I have heard Bernie and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and all the progressives go and give the oligarchy speech, and they go get, and it's repetitious. Unfortunately, it is true. And with all the work that you have done with the con and all these other issues, CDO, mortgage-backed securities, all of these are tied in together of what we should be rid of, but not even Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer will support the people who are ready to do it. That's why the guy in Maine is being put up against a 79-year-old governor to run for Senate in Maine. That's why we don't have Chuck Schumer or Hakeem Jeffries supporting Danny, who actually has the support of the people. The people are energized behind guys like Mandem because finally they see somebody that is speaking to the problems that they have. The Democratic Party has not yet done that because they can't. I'm talking about the leadership now. They can't. And that's why what you do with informing us, with giving us that raw material, that investigative material that have other activists out there, give activists the fertilizer and all of that they need with that information to put it out there and say, if I need to know why is it that certain things are happening? Well, if you take a look at what happened in the con, if you take a look at the New Deal, what New Deal again?
The Clean New Deal. Thank you. If you can see it.
Yeah, it's right there, right looking at me. And understand the nuts and bolts. That's not pretty and not sexy, but's necessary. It is for guys like me and other activists out there to take the unsexy work and attach it to each of the problems that we have in a fashion that people can absorb and do something about it. But it's not going to be the Democratic Party. We are going to have to go beyond the Democratic Party.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. And on that note, I'm going to just say, people, if you can see it, if I can get out of the way, the Clean New Deal, you can discover that at thecleannewdeal.org, especially if you get through the con.tv, which is the blueprint for how this works, like Egberto had just described. But Egberto, well, in fact, I'll just finish up with this. If you want to get, corruption is the central issue of everything. This attacks corruption in a way with the professionals, the greatest in our country that have done this for 3 decades, that I brought to the fore, because the entire system from the Department of Justice to SCOTUS to the FBI, et cetera, are completely corrupt in a way that Egberto saw growing up, obviously, and which brought him here from Central America, right? I mean, that's probably a fair assessment to some degree, right? Because it gets, when you get the juntas and the military dictatorships and all those things. But I want to finish this with this real quick because we got 5 minutes, and I want to get your reaction to this. So right now, we are in the midst of not just this global calamity, this sort of fissuring, which appears to me that it's the global billionaires in cahoots with Trump to destroy the United States, whatever's going to come next. And there's all sorts of insanity that seems to be emanating from this stupidity that we're in the midst of. But it's the bubbles, okay? We've got they call the Magnificent Seven that are hyper evaluated. You've got AI that's running through the roof, and all of this in service. In fact, I know that there are bank runs right now, particularly as it relates to the shadow sector. And they are blowing up all over the place. In fact, in my backyard, one of the biggest heavyweight banks that I thought was pretty much unsinkable, it has just had to write off like 600 million in bad loans in commercial real estate development. And that's just a sign of train wrecks to come. But I want people to understand, because I've, informed you, Egberto, but everybody needs to get hip to this as quickly as possible. It's a setup. It's a sabotage. It's a pump and dump scheme of enormous consequences, maybe the biggest in the history of the world. And what these people are banking on, for those of you who've paid attention to Trump trying to take over the Federal Reserve, and Letitia James, and of course Lisa Cook, and so on and so forth. Listen, 13 years ago, what we discovered was, after Wall Street, working on the same kind of fraud, blew up the world, they're the ones who got paid off tens of trillions of dollars illegally. If they've got complete control of the system, and none of us know how the system works, they do this to set us up because they can squeeze profits, like squeezing blood from a turnip sort of thing, or however that metaphor goes. And when it all, blows up because of their stupidity, because of their criminality, because of their corruption and the revolving door, they've got money baked on all of our collective value. You need to understand that, America. I give you the last word on this.
I mean, look, tariffs have been used to play the markets. Just before the last tariff Donald Trump claimed to put on China, the new 100% tariff on China, a friend of his supposedly made billions by shorting and making a whole lot of money on that. The payment to Brazil of $40 billion. There are a lot of people that were banking on Argentina. Yeah, exactly. Argentina. There are a lot of people banking on Argentina being successful with right-wing policies. As it started to cave, all those investors were going to lose their money. There comes the money to Argentina for the bailout, the beef that I don't know if you heard the beef story. I covered that this morning. The beef is very high in the United States. Instead of helping with the input costs to the beef producers, now we are going to be importing beef, a whole lot of beef from Argentina, to reduce the prices of beef in the United States, which means the profit the cattle the ranchers are getting is going to fall again. And who's going to continue making the money? The meat processors. So, I mean, the capitalists, I know we have issues in the way I use that word, but I'm going to tell you folks, the con that my brother here speaks about all of the time is on. The tariffs is a con. The bailout of Argentina is a con. The immigration scheme is a con, and people don't get it. They don't understand that the immigration scheme is just there to perk up the billionaires who own the prison industrial complex, the food industrial complex, to feed the immigrants that are in jail, to house the immigrants that are in jail, to fly the immigrants and move them around. All these are businesses making money using immigrants as the cog. It's all a con to make money, and they use people's prejudices to actually do it.
And what I was just saying, look, you're right about everything. My interpretation of it is it's monopoly, predatory capitalism built on criminality that we have laws to rein in. But when it all blows up because of this insane, you just have to think of these guys as drug dealers and the way drug dealers deal with their clients, or if they're a pimp and they deal. I mean, these are the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst criminals, and they're getting away with it. And not only are they getting away with it, they can, and I know you don't like this term, but I have to say it out loud. It's socialism for criminals. That's what I'm telling you, because the Federal Reserve can give them tens of trillions of dollars. And that's what this play is. Putin's in on it. I know it for a fact. I've watched this through the lens. And the last thing about, interestingly enough, and I want to just say this because you'll appreciate this. And I'd encourage anybody who watches Egberto to spread this around in Texas too, for farmers or anybody in the agricultural industry to reach out to me. I've had a lot of, let's say, MAGA-leaning type of, salt of the earth Americans that have, ranches and farms and that sort of thing. And they are getting destroyed by the tariffs and the soybeans. And now they're like, oh my God, the sky is falling. So what you and I know is that Americans, unfortunately, are very selfish, right? that we don't really care about what happens unless it happens to us. And then when it happens to us, we yell bloody murder. What I'm telling you is we've been dealing with this for 14 years, my friends. This has got to end. We've got the answers. Our friends like Egberto are tremendous vectors of truth every single day. Please check out Egberto Willies on Politics Done Right and everything that you do. And you always grace me with your presence and your wisdom, Egberto, and I consider you such a great friend. Thank you for your time this morning, my man.
Thank you so kindly for having me. And again, we got to keep doing this. We have work to do.
Thank you so much.
Yes, we have work to do. Yes, we have work to do. Let's see, Lynette. I went ahead and I put the the video that I was telling you about. It's inside of the link. It's thecon.tv. Thecon.tv. I put it in there, and the other one is it's in thecleannewdeal.org. Thecleannewdeal.org is where he has a lot of his work as well. So I hope that helps. Earlier, I saw a message from brother, who was it that said it? Paul Fleming. I think it was Paul Fleming who said, some person on TV, I don't remember her name, said that this was a movement of all old people. Well, I interviewed a lot of people at our event here. And what I made sure to do is also show that it wasn't just old people. Want you to listen to some of the folks that were actually out there, okay? Don't let them fool you. Oh, it's old people. No, it isn't. That's old people. Check this out.
What is your name, ma'am?
My name is Soraya.
What is your name?
Soraya.
Saran, tell me, you're out here in Kingwood at this huge No Kings 2 rally. Tell me why you're here.
I'm here because I believe in democracy. I believe in protecting people's rights. I believe that united we have a voice, and if you have the ability to do something, do it. Go out, make your voice heard, and there's going to be people behind you.
What is so important is when you come around here, this is what America really looks like. If you go to some of these other rallies, it's not what America looks like. So tell me, as you come around here, it's getting shady. I feel a breeze. That feels good. It feels great.
Yeah.
As you are here protesting, what you want to take back with you?
Take back with me? I think I want to take back that there's more people that agree with the way things should be than what you might think. We have so many different kinds of people out here, young, old, everything in between, every creed, everything. So you're not alone. There's people behind you. There's people that want to support you and support themselves. So just get out.
I am glad you said that. One, we're not alone.
No.
Two, there are a lot of other people out there that think like you, even if they're hidden in their homes. And I think things have gotten so bad that all these people decided to come out. I've spoken to so many people that said they've never done a protest. They feel the necessity to do it now.
Yes.
And
that's a beautiful thing.
It's a great thing.
To have something that pushes you that you would normally stay at home for. Maybe you might just support it online, do a repost, but to actually go out because you feel the need. It's unfortunate that we do have this need, but to come out and do it, that speaks volumes.
It speaks volumes. Well, look, thank you so kindly for speaking to me.
Of course. No, thank you.
Hello, ma'am. What's your name?
Hi, my name is Patricia.
Patricia, what made you come out to, you're a young woman. You could be doing a lot of other things.
Yes.
Right? What I love about today is a lot of young people are out. Specifically, I want to know why this young person is out.
Well, I feel like I've been seeing a lot of injustices through our phones, and we've gotten to see kind of the realistic side of what people are going through. And it's kind of important for us to stand up and be against that, because truly, in essence, we're fighting for our own human rights. And as we go on, we see that they are taking away more and more of our rights. And I feel like it's just time for people to truly stand up and fight back, because, we're better united than we are divided. And what they truly want is to blame somebody else, blame the immigrants, blame the people who come here and, try to get a good job to provide for their families, rather than blaming, racist Nazis who don't want us here. So it's just kind of we need to learn how to move forward as a country and truly value other people and their lives and what they contribute to our society.
I think I couldn't have said that any better. I think that is wonderful. Make sure and keep it up, and you keep encouraging others to do the same.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so kindly.
Thank you.
Now, there is one person that I left. I have a lot of other young people that I'm going to put in a standalone video with all the clips of their full interviews, right? I'm going to probably try to work on that today, because I want the young people's voices to be heard, because they are the ones that have to live with the mess that we created for them, right? But I want you to listen to the undertones of this young woman. She just turned 18. Just turned 18. Of all the young people that I spoke to, this one touched me the most, because it kind of told me, damn, we can't leave the crazy for this young woman and her generation. Just turned 18, and this is what she was born into. I want you to listen to this one, and then we'll close this baby up on the other side.
You know, guys, I am excited when I see our youngsters come up, because they make us know that we have a future. What is your name?
My name is Aubrey.
Aubrey, why are you out here over and over again?
I'm out here because I just see all the things happening in the world, and then like I learn about similar stuff in like my history class, and like this is history repeating itself in such like a visible way, and it's gonna damage all our futures. But like I just became an adult. I don't want to inherit like a crazy world.
You know what I love with what you just said? You study history, and it's sad. You feel sad to see that a lot of things your parents, older folks like myself, fought for, you are having to come back and do again. But let me tell you what's important, Aubrey. You are doing it, and as such, you are one of the heroes. I feel great to know that our hands are in the hands of people like you. Give me a closer.
Even if you can't do like everything, you can't like go to the protests, sign the petitions, whatever, there's a way that you can help. You can get the word out there, get the information out there. Like, it feels impossible, but I know that we'll get through this and we'll be better on the other side. Thank you.
Thank you.
That 18-year-old nailed it. You can always do something. Disregard the sycophants. Disregard those who have been indoctrinated. Disregard the haters. Disregard the racist. Disregards the homophobe. Disregard the sexist. Disregards the misogynist. Disregards the xenophobics. You know why? There are more of us than them. They are the vestiges. They are like a rabid dog. You know, the sick rabid dog is most dangerous just before death. But you know what? You want to make sure that they don't get an antidote. You'd want to make sure they don't get an antidote for that which afflicts them. You don't want that antidote, and making sure they don't get that antidote is overwhelming with everything else. Overwhelming with love, overwhelming with action, overwhelming with activity. That is what it is all about. So, let's try to keep our blood pressure down, Brother Rudnin. That is for you. I know you're probably gone by now. But when you are doing stuff, it is like, hey, I love food, guys. But if I'm busy working, that's the one time in my life I forget about food. You know? But let me tell you, I'm no kidding aside. I want all of us to know that we can continue, and not only that we can continue, but that we are going to win. I gave a little talk at our 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock show in the morning a few days ago about once you flip into authoritarianism. Oh man, what's wrong with me? Authoritarianism. Once you get there, it is hard to get out. we have to make elected authoritarianism. Once, and we only have a few electeds right now. We have to make sure in these next elections not to put more in there. And that is how we win. Because if we fall completely in, it becomes then a fight between one billionaire class and the other billionaire class that controls everything. We have got to win. We have no choice but to win. And we will win. We can win. Absolutely so. All right, folks, please remember to support our program however you can. Please go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. politicsdoneright.com/newsletter is how you can support our entire endeavor here. We can't do this without you, and we are orders of magnitude behind where we should be in fundraising for this show here at 3 o'clock. So I want to ask all of you who have the wherewithal to do so to please go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. And it's simple, right? Become a paid subscriber. You know, a coffee, right? A paid subscriber. And if enough of us become paid subscribers, we can do this. As I tell my folks in the mornings, I give to about, I don't know, a whole bunch. I can't count them on two hands. Different publications, different Substacks, etc. I give to Substacks, different websites, and my own radio show at KPFT. They don't pay me at KPFT at all. The only thing that I get is whatever I can do here with our newsletter, etc. But what I want to say is this, guys. We have to support. We need to support our progressive outlets badly. We need to support them to make sure we can do the job, because the mainstream media is just not going to do it. They can't. They can't. They lose their flow if they do. All right. Got to go get busy and get some more videos processed. Let's do this. Please, one more time, go to our website, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Become a paid subscriber if you can. Love you all. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out! Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.